You're suffering from diabetes, high blood pressure, being overweight, or having low energy, this webinar is going to change your life. I guarantee it. If you're suffering from diabetes, high blood pressure, being overweight, or having low energy, this webinar is going to change your life. I guarantee it. It changed mine and hundreds of people over the last 20 years that I have worked with, or maybe even thousands of people that have just had tremendous results and have completely turned their life around, living a greater life, more fulfilled, energetic, and thriving versus just living. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go through food, what food is, what it's not, and then we're going to talk about the different types of herbs. But before we get into it, what I would like to do first is change your state of being. And the way we do that is through just breathing and inhaling. So you have two different types of states. One is your sympathetic state, and your parasympathetic state is the other one. And what we need to be in to be able to learn and understand and grasp things a little more, make good decisions, be more calm, is in our parasympathetic state. And the way we do that is by breathing. So we're going to do a quick breathing exercise. It's only going to take 1 minute, so it's not going to be long. And all you need to do is inhale, hold for 5 seconds, and then exhale. I'll demonstrate. Okay, so now we're going to do that together just for 1 minute. I'm going to start my timer so that we can all stay together and you don't tell me that my time is a little bit different than what yours is. So prepare yourself, get yourself ready. This is not going to take very long. It's going to be very quick, and we're going to dive right into food, what it is, and how we're going to change your life. Okay, are we ready? Everybody ready? Okay, let's go. Good, inhale. Good, inhale. Good, inhale. Again, inhale. 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 Very good. So that simple exercise is really good to do if you're going into meetings, if you're going to meet somebody you hadn't seen in a while, or if you just want to be present in a moment. Make sure that you're able to fully grasp and understand everything that's taking place at the moment and not be in your sympathetic state where it's more fight or flight, where you're just rushing, trying to get things done. You might be making some rash decisions, or have a little bit of fear, or maybe even comparing your life to someone else's, thinking that, oh, they have this and I don't have that. That's a more sympathetic state, and you can't make good decisions in that state. You can't connect with your creator in that state, and you definitely can't remember the things that you need to remember in that state. So let's get started with a word of prayer first. Holy Father, we thank you for this opportunity to learn, the opportunity to change our lives. Father, I ask that you work through me. Holy Spirit, use me, teach me, guide me, show me what your people need in this webinar. Father, we open our hearts and we open our minds to receive. Satan, we rebuke you and any demonic spirits you have sent to destroy us, slow us down, or prevent us from becoming better people. And Father, we ask that you rush us with your warm spirit and fill those gaps with what we need so that we can learn, become better people, and have better health. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, so let's dive right into it. First, we're going to talk about food. So there's different types of food. You have whole foods, you have what some of us would call dead food, and then you have empty calories. Okay, so let's talk about whole foods first. Whole foods would be the foods that you desire to have, right? Normally, when you eat food, you go to sleep and you're groggy and you're tired and you're not feeling well, and sometimes you just want to be left alone, right? That is not good food. Whole foods actually energize your body. They make you feel good, they give you more energy to perform, and they don't sit heavy on you. A whole food would be something that is comprised of multiple different minerals. So you'll have some carbohydrates, you'll have some fats, and then you may even have some fiber in there as well. And in some cases, you can have other bulk or trace minerals. Bulk and trace just means a lot or a little. Bulk means a lot, trace means a little. So don't get confused with the terminology. So you want to have whole foods in your diet, foods that encompass a little bit of everything, but not bad foods. For instance, a non-whole food or something with empty calories would be something that contains trans fat or something that contains high fructose corn syrup. I don't know if you remember, maybe, I don't know, 10 years ago, 5 or 10 years ago, there was this big, marketing campaign about don't eat, saturated fat, trans fat is better. And then they came out and said, oh, trans fat is bad and we're going to take it out of food. But some foods still had a little bit of trans fat. And I think they could put in like 1 or 2 grams of trans fat and still say that it didn't have it in there, versus having a polyunsaturated fat or monounsaturated fat, which are fats that actually lubricate the body, lubricate the heart, and help you perform better. So different types of fat in your food will make a huge difference in the way you feel and, of course, in the way you look. So you want to get fats that are more healthy for you versus some of the more created fats, if you will, manufactured fats. Sugar is the same way. You have manufactured sugars. Now we see a lot of HFC is what they call it, high fructose corn syrup. Or in some cases, you just have just the natural, manufactured sugar, which would be like your, Imperial brands or CNH or, some of those sugars that are not the best for you versus like a cane sugar, which is really good for your body and helps feed the body, keeps you balanced, doesn't spike your insulin and cause diabetes. As we know, diabetes is caused because the pancreas does not have the ability to release enough insulin to break down all of the sugar that's coming into the body. And because we're getting manufactured sugar, the sugar is magnified. I believe HFC, high fructose corn syrup, is like 1,000 times more sweet than sugar is, or maybe even 10,000. I don't know. We might look those numbers up, but it's very bad. It's not good for us, and it's causing us to have major illnesses at a much younger age, and it's running more rapid. Diabetes is last I looked, it kills like 6 million people a year. So, and the numbers could be higher. I do encourage you to look some of this information up. I have studied a lot and I've been in the business for over 25 years, but I do encourage you to still look up this information, do some fact checking, and make sure that we're all speaking the same language. So sugars are important. You can get sugar also from fruit, and a lot of people have come to me and said, hey, Christian, I know you keep telling me to eat fruit, but fruit has sugar in it, and it's going to make me fat. Well, fruit has what's called fructose, and fructose is not bad for you. It's actually a good sugar, like cane sugar would be good for you, and it allows your body to maintain its ability to stay energized, not give you those peaks and valleys, and it doesn't spike your insulin because things that are made from the earth, our bodies digest much better versus things that are made from man, we have problems with because the way that it's manufactured and the fillers, substances that are put in, it can get really, really dangerous and can cause us a lot of illness. So we want to make sure that we're taking in products and food that naturally grow from the ground and are not manufactured. And if you have to eat something manufactured, you want to do that at a very, very low percentage of the time, like maybe 10%. Like I always say, you got to have a cheat day. You got to. But if you do have a cheat day, you want to make it as healthy as possible. And if you have to have something manufactured, just keep it to a minimum, because your body can handle some, but it can't handle it all the time. You've got to feed the body good stuff. And I found in my career and experience that most people don't put enough good stuff in, and that becomes the problem. It's not that they're eating all bad; it's that they're not putting in enough good stuff, and that's the problem. Because you can eat bad, but if you put in good stuff, you can counteract it. But if you eat bad food and you don't drink like a fresh juice afterwards, then your body's going to have a hard time digesting. And that fresh juice has digestive enzymes and fiber that's going to help push it through your digestive system. Even sometimes, I like to go get a burger, right? And I know everybody's like, burger, oh my gosh, but burgers it's protein, it is beef. But what I will do is I'll add some guacamole to that burger so that I've got more fiber to help process it and push it down, and it doesn't just get stuck in my colon or digestive tract, because it's just meat and bread. So there's things you can do to kind of alter it a little bit, but for the most part, you want to put in more good than bad. I would say 90-10 at this point. We used to say 80-20, but food is so manufactured now. You really got to go 90-10. It's really, really good. So you have to ask yourself, what types of foods and what types of foods and fats do I want to take into my body to allow me to lose weight? And if you can answer that question from what we just talked about, you're doing good. Right? All right. So we talked a little bit about fat, but let's dive in a little bit more on what fats are. So you have monounsaturated fats and polyunsaturated fats, which are really good for the heart and the body. And then you have saturated and then trans fat, which are those fats that make you feel bad. When you eat them, you feel sluggish, you feel drained, you feel tired, which you probably feel that way right now or have been feeling that way. And those are the fats that you want to stay away from, because your body doesn't really know how to process it. So it does the best it can. And in some cases, we have what's called the itis, where you eat so much, your body just shuts down. It says, you know what? You're done. You can't have any more food because I can't process all of this. So it shuts down. It's not just sleep. It's shutting down. So we have to figure out what fats we need to put in our body and which ones we don't. And those would be your polyunsaturated, your monounsaturated, and there are other good fats as well. You can get good fats from nuts. You can get them from extra virgin olive oil. Cold pressed olive oil is going to be better than just a random extra virgin olive oil in the store. A lot of them say EVOO. There's a lot of marketing, but cold pressed extra virgin olive oil has polyphenols and some other really good properties in it that helps your body lose weight, and it still lubricates your body, your heart, and keeps that digestive tract flowing, because we've got to have some oils in there. Otherwise, you ever get like a sticky stool and just sticks to the bottom of the toilet. I know that's a little gross, but it's because you don't have enough fat in your diet generally, or in some cases it could contribute to bile. But fats help tremendously with digestion, and if you take the right ones, you don't get that groggy feeling, you don't get tired, and you can still perform on a day-to-day. Because if you think about it, if you have to get a job done, or if you have a project that you need to get done, or even those of you who are spiritual and God has given you a mission to go and do something, if you're tired, you can't do it. If you're sick, you can't perform. And if you don't feel well, you can't compete. And we already know that's what the opposition wants, to take you out of the game. So don't be out of the game. Put yourself back in the game. Feed yourself properly. Keep yourself healthy, and that way you can perform at optimal performance at all times. All right. So Other ways to get good fats would be from, you can get it from lean meats because some of them have fat in it, but it's not as heavy or bad as the other fats. Different types of meat have the fats are not as bad as, like, if you just go get some, fatty ground beef versus if you get the leaner ground beef, or, ground chuck or bison, or, in some cases ostrich, and, some people like goat. The fat is a little bit leaner and it's not going to impact your body as much. I generally like to get it from extra virgin olive oil. Like I said before, I put it in everything. I will pour it in my soups. I'll pour it in my broths. I'll pour it in I make rice. I'll put a little extra virgin olive oil in there. If I'm, I might be lightly frying an egg. I think it can stand temperatures up to a certain point. Like, you want to check those temperatures because it's not really good to fry in. If you do some frying or deep frying, I would definitely suggest a peanut oil, because, like I said before, you can get it from nuts as well, almonds, cashews, and some of the other great nuts that are available. You can get good oils from nuts. So peanut oil, if you're frying, I like to fry some catfish. I know some people don't like catfish, and we'll talk about that as we get towards meat and fish in a minute. But I like to fry catfish, or even rainbow trout, or different types of fish. And I use peanut oil, and it generally works really well, keeps my cholesterol down, and we don't have many problems with it. And if you look at what cholesterol is, there's different types of cholesterol. So you have HDLs, you have LDLs, and you have VLDLs. So HDLs, let's not get confused. I'm going to explain it. So it's high density lipoproteins, HDL. You have VLDLs, which is very low lipodensity protein. And then you have HDL, LDLs, which are low density lipoproteins. So basically, the way it was explained to me is your lower density lipoproteins don't get through your bloodstream as far because they have, let's say, low endurance. So they make it short distance and then they stop and they stick to your artery walls, versus a high density lipoprotein can get a little bit farther or a lot farther, and you don't get that clogged artery like you would if you were taking in a lot of low density lipoprotein. So even if your cholesterol is high, now I'm not a doctor, I'm just telling you what I've researched, you can be okay if your HDLs are high. But if you've got high LDLs and VLDLs, that's where you're going to run into issues. So when you talk with your doctor, have them break that down for you. Some of them will, some of them won't, but if you ask normally, they will oblige. All right, so now you have to ask yourself, what kinds of fats do I need to be eating? And what kind of fat are you eating? Do you know? Have you ever looked? So that's what we're going to do in a minute. We're going to go into your cabinet, in your cupboard, in your refrigerator, and whatever you call it. And we're going to look at some of those things. I'm going to show you how to read those labels. Not yet. We're going to get through this first, and then we'll go into that. Okay? So ask yourself, what type of fats should I be eating? And what kind of food should I be eating? Whole foods or empty calories? I think you got it. You want more whole foods. Definitely. All right. And then what kind of sugars? If you think about sugars, what kind of sugars do you want? Do you want processed sugars, or do you want the more fruit sugars, fructose, cane sugar, natural sugars? That's what we want, right? We want to feel good, feel better than you feel right now. I know a lot of you are sitting on your couch and you're probably just miserable and tired and like, look, I need a solution. And that's why you're here. And I have the solution for you. Over the next 3 days, we are going to break this down, and I'm going to try to make it so simple for you, so easy that a fifth grader could do it. At the same time, it's going to change your life and cause you to thrive every single day. And I'm telling you, because I do it myself, and I've helped a lot of people, thousands of people do the exact same thing. So we're going to get you there. So don't worry, just hang in here with me. The next thing we're going to talk about are carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are generally they're chains of sugar. So if you look at what a sugar molecule is, right, that's just one molecule, but a carbohydrate will be a chain of molecules. So yeah, it's sugar combined. I know you're thinking, wow, I didn't know that. Yeah, that's a lot of sugar just packed in one combination. So you want to be very careful with carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are not all bad, but they're not all good. And the way that you can understand carbohydrates is you have complex carbohydrates and then you have very simple carbohydrates. The simple carbohydrates kind of get you feeling like you've been feeling, where you're tired, you eat it, and you get bloated, or you drink something and your stomach just swells up, and you don't feel like doing anything. That's more mainly going to be a complex carbohydrate. They generally break down in the body within 15 minutes, and if they're not used quickly, guess what they turn into? Yeah, you got it, fat. They turn into fat. So that's why we can eat something and things get bigger pretty quickly, whether it's our arms, our back, our hips, our butt, because those simple carbohydrates just turn into fat if they're not used immediately. So I would even say time when you're going to use those, like schedule it. Like when you eat those, rather, if you're going to be pretty active and you're out walking around at a fair or something, you need some carbohydrates because you're going to walk that off and burn it off. If you're just going to go lay on the couch after you eat, you may not want to eat carbohydrates. You may want to go simple carbohydrates. You may want to try a complex carbohydrate. And a complex carbohydrate would be like sweet potato or any types of vegetables are going to be more complex carbohydrates. And complex carbohydrates burn kind of like if you compare diesel fuel versus gas. It's much cleaner and it burns slower over time. So you got a longer time period, like let's say, an hour versus 15 minutes. Like, I don't know that that's a true time because it depends on your body, but you definitely have a longer time period to burn those off, and it doesn't burn them all at once. It slowly burns it to regulate your blood sugar and keep your blood sugar level and keep your energy levels much more stable. So complex carbohydrates are going to be what you should go for. Complex carbohydrates are going to be your vegetables. It's going to be your sweet potatoes. There are some red potatoes that are complex carbohydrates. I have been told that if you eat a white potato, as long as you eat the outer layer, your body considers it as a complex carbohydrate because the outer layer has fiber in it. So if you like white potatoes, just eat the outside. Just make sure it's clean and it's taken care of, so you're not eating anything bad. And that will help you metabolize that food or break it down much easier and not have to suffer from being groggy and being tired and being swollen and gaining weight and feeling a lot of what you have been feeling. This is an easy way to get rid of some of that. Legumes, your beans are going to be complex carbohydrates. What else would be good? Complex carbohydrates. I think and of course, you can get it in drinks with juicing and things like that. If you juice fruit or you juice any of your vegetables, you can definitely get it there. And I know there are some right now in the media. We're hearing a lot about these parasites in vegetables, especially leafy green vegetables. I think I'm hearing it in romaine lettuce and spinach mainly, and I think I've heard of it and a couple other things. But there's something you must know about parasites. If those of us who eat fruits and vegetables often, we're aware that parasites exist. And then those of us who have taken detoxes before, parasites exist. It's not something new. This is just the season for this type of parasite that's out now. It starts up really through June. August is the season for this parasite, and it's pretty common. It's not something that's like foreign, but your body can get rid of it naturally over time. It generally, can take care of it. So it's not something to be terrified of. I haven't heard of any deaths from it. The last I've heard, we were at 1,600, maybe 40 something cases, where we've had way more that never even got reported on. So the best thing to do is make sure you wash your vegetables thoroughly. I generally like to use baking soda. I have heard baking soda and apple cider vinegar specifically will kill the current parasite that's out now. And you can also use food grade peroxide. I think it's like a quarter of a cup to a gallon of peroxide, food grade peroxide, not the standard stuff you get out the store to be too potent. But food grade peroxide, you just let it sit for about 15 minutes, and it does well. If you watched any of my juicing episodes or Beyond the Recipe, which is our new show on YouTube, if you haven't watched it, please do. I think we're at episode 6 or 7 right now. But we go through some of the ways to wash those fruits before you juice them in the juicing show, as well as washing food and making sure that you take care and clean your food before we eat it, because we know, I mean, the stuff is grown in farm areas, or in some cases, manufactured farm areas. And if you've ever grown food, you're not the only one that wants it, right? I mean, those birds and those ants and those, everything wants that food. So they just get in there and bury themselves, or, try to, get the food, and you just got to rinse it off real good and make sure that you're thorough. And you can generally avoid any complications. I think the worst I've heard is diarrhea. There's no vomiting or headaches that I've heard of that's associated with it. But over, I think, like a week's time, it generally seems to subside, and your body just goes back to normal. So there are different herbs you can take as well. When we talk about food, herbs is another food that you can eat. It's considered a whole food. And then there are herbs that actually detoxify the body and kill parasites. So I took one before, I think it was called Black Walnut was the name of it. Black Walnut Whole is the one I took personally, and I definitely removed the parasites, and I've seen them as they came out. I did a hydrotherapy colonic. It was very interesting, but you could see a lot of stuff that's coming out, and we definitely identified some foreign objects. But you could take stuff like that over time and kill any current parasites, because you can get parasites from eating pork, from eating beef, from eating chicken, from anything. And over your course of your life, I am sure you have run into some foods with parasites, and you might not even know you have some right now, or worms. So things like that will help. There are other good substances for it, but what I took was the black walnut, and it worked out really, really well. So if you want to detoxify your body from parasites, that's something to look at. And there are some good detoxification programs for parasites. I don't have any here, but that may be something you want to research. And do your research, find good reviews from people who've done it before, and then from there decide what's going to be best for you. Okay? So complex carbohydrates, if we go back to that, complex carbohydrates are going to be your fruits and your vegetables, your beans, and then we want to ask ourselves, what kind of carbohydrates do you want to take in to allow you to lose weight? And that's going to be the complex, definitely the complex. Simple carbohydrates are good, I would say, after a workout, because your blood vessels dilate for anywhere from up to 30 to 45 minutes, and you need quick energy. So after a workout, if you go and get something that has more simple carbohydrates, it could benefit you, because your body can break that down within that 15 minutes, get it to the bloodstream, and help prepare those muscles. So it could be very good for you. Another good thing about carbohydrates, simple or complex, is that it promotes protein synthesis. So if you eat meat, you need to eat a complex carbohydrate or a simple carbohydrate, depending on when you eat it, because it helps your body process the protein and send it to the muscle. So you have to pair the two. If you just eat meat by itself, you may not get the best benefit of the protein. So pair with a carbohydrate, and you get a more balanced digestive process. Okay. All right. So we got to what kind of carbs to eat. So now let's talk about meat and seafood. Meat and seafood are very interesting topics. So we've got this whole, I think, society of people who think meat is bad, or people who think seafood is bad. Um, it's all filled with something: pesticides, parasites, fats, cancer-causing agents. The general rule I like to say is eat for performance, right? If you're working out hard, you're going to need protein. And I prefer eating my protein than drinking my protein. We're not even going to talk about supplements today because that's a whole nother ball game. But I think you can eat your protein. You can eat it through nuts, you can eat it through beans, you can eat it through meat, and you can eat it through fish. You definitely need protein. If you choose to do meat, just pick the leanest meats, try to get the most organic, or try to get meats that are less processed, like I was talking about ostrich or goat or different types of meat, bison. That way you get less processed or chemicals that are processed in the meats. If you just go with like a beef or chicken that's standard, you are going to risk a little bit higher illnesses maybe, or have some problems with it because it's so processed. And I think nowadays a lot of it's not even considered meat. I was looking at a study recently, and they tested some very popular restaurants. I'll keep them nameless for right now, but over 50% of what was in the meats was addictive chemicals to keep you coming back. And we know this because there are restaurants with 2 lines that you could drive through, if you know what I mean. So be careful with certain types of meats. Make sure that you get meat that's good quality. Organic is going to be good. Lean is going to be good. If you're looking at seafood, I like all types of fish. There are some people who don't like the bottom feeders, or people who only like, tropical saltwater fish, or there's people who like freshwater fish. I think it's generally going to be okay as long as you pick the foods that perform well in your body. If you eat a certain type of fish and your body doesn't agree with it, don't eat that type of fish. If you eat another one and your body's okay with it, eat it. Experiment, test, try. Don't guess, test. If you eat it and your body doesn't like it, don't eat it. I like catfish. I eat catfish quite often. I don't have many problems with it. Some people hate it. They feel like it's too buttery, it's this, it's that. That's fine. But I do like redfish. I do like red snapper. I do like swordfish. I do like all different types. I'll eat alligator. I'll eat all different types of meats. It just depends on what my diet is. But I will say, if you are trying to lose weight and you want to lose weight quickly, beef is going to have the highest content of fat. So you want to reduce that by eating things with a lower level of fat. Some cases it's turkey. I'll do a lot of ground turkey in supplement of beef, or just don't eat it at all. Go with more of your seafoods and veggies that are going to provide your body with good energy, keep you balanced, and not make you groggy. I will say probably 90% of the time I'm going for seafood, personally. And then I might eat, and I think now I'm really down. I might eat burger like once a month, where I was eating them once a week, in some cases once a night. So that's the thing, like, tame yourself. Like, you have to discipline yourself, but do it over time. Don't try to just say, I'm not gonna do nothing. Like, just slow it down. Just whatever you do, say, okay, we're not gonna do that today. I'm gonna do that maybe once a week, or I'm not gonna eat as much. There was times where I would go out to eat and I might order chicken fried steak and potatoes and broccoli, right? But I would only eat half of the plate and then take the rest to go and eat the other half later. Because if you space out your meals, your body has time to process it, and it doesn't sit as heavy, and you don't gain as much weight. Because if you think about it, if you put in a large meal all at one time, which could, let's say it's about 2,000 calories, your body can't burn that much calories. So it's going to store the fat, store the rest as fat. Versus if you just put in 1,000 of those calories and then you eat another 1,000 later, your body has time to process that fat. And then you can consume more and you don't risk gaining weight or, harming your body and getting sick much quicker. So ask yourself, what type of meats do I want? What type of seafood do I want to lose weight? What can you be consistent with is the question. And there's not the same for everybody. Don't think that what works for me is going to work for you, and what works for you is going to work for somebody else. Try, test, see what you like and see what you don't like, and see how your body responds. Sometimes your body will respond. Like I found out recently in the last 5 years that my body doesn't like tomatoes, right? I love spaghetti sauce. I love tomatoes. Everything about it. But I noticed I would get these little bumps just in random places every time I ate tomatoes. And I was like, what is this? And I looked it up, and we have food allergies. There are food allergies that exist, and your body will tell you if you eat something. And for instance, I did it was kind of extreme. I went vegan for a while. And when I went vegan for maybe 6 months. And then when I start to reintroduce different meats back into my body, they didn't work out anymore. For some reason, chicken would cause my nose to run real bad or give me diarrhea. So I stopped eating chicken. And that's been about 15 years ago. So I don't eat chicken currently because of that reason. Bacon, unfortunately, does the same thing. But it's because I took the food out, allowed my body to heal from it. And then once I reintroduced it, my body was able to tell me, no, this isn't good. Or no, we've got an allergy to this. Or no, this is going to cause us to, not feel well. So I took those things out of my diet. I no longer eat them. And it's helped me tremendously. So I suggest you do the same. Test, don't guess, right? Because what works for you may not work for somebody else. And we can't all eat the same thing, unfortunately. So now let's look at labeling. So if you would, I want to give you time to go into your kitchen. And what I want you to do is just grab one thing, just one thing that you know is bad. Just one. I'm gonna give you time. You can take your phone with you, take your laptop, whatever, or just go in there and grab something real quick. If you're not home, do it when you get home. Okay. And basically what we're going to go through is the labels on food. So on the back of your label there, if you turn that package around, you have the ingredients at the bottom. Now I know some people wear glasses, so if you haven't got your glasses, grab your glasses because you really want to see this. And basically, so you have the ingredients at the very bottom that tells you what's in the product, right? That's everything that's in it. That's supposed to be everything that's in it, right? Above that, you'll have a list of all of the fats, carbohydrates, the things we just talked about, the sugars, right? The fiber. So what you want on the back of that label is for one serving, you want the lowest amount of sugars possible, right? I say 5 at the most. If yours is more than 5, that's probably not a good product, okay? Depending on what it is, but it's probably not good, right? And fiber, you want at least 4 to 5 grams of fiber in there. You need good fiber, right? And some would say even more than that. But if that product doesn't have fiber in it, that's not a good product. You also want to look at the amount of carbohydrates are in there. Because if let's say you got 15 grams of sugar and you got 25 grams of carbohydrates, you might as well combine those numbers because why? Carbohydrates are chains of sugars. So you want to make sure that you know those numbers. And when you look at the back of that package, anything you purchase, you want to look at those and see how high they are and try to make sure that they're low as possible. Now, there are calories on the very top, and sometimes that can be a little ambiguous because it's just a combination of everything. But low calories is generally what you want as well. You want to keep your calories very low. I say 80 to maybe 100, If you got something that's a couple hundred calories, that's probably not going to be good. And then when we look at the ingredients at the bottom, let's go back to the bottom of that ingredients list. The way you read ingredients, and most people have no idea that the first ingredient is what it has the most of. So you want to read ingredients from greatest to least, right? So whatever the first, second, third ingredient is what that package has the most of. So if you got, fat first, or if you got carbohydrates first, or enriched bleach flour, which we know is just a simple carbohydrate, that's going to be bad for you. There are some cases, if you have some bread, I want you to grab some bread for me. If you have wheat bread, grab that too. Look at your wheat bread package. And on the back, the first ingredients on a lot of wheat bread is enriched white flour. So it's not technically wheat. They just put brown food coloring in it to make it brown. And then you buy it and you're thinking you're getting wheat bread, but it's not wheat at all. So a better bread to get would be a whole grain bread or 7-grain bread that's going to have your nuts in it, or allow you to have complex carbohydrates so that it's not burning so quickly. Now, what I want you to do, this is your challenge for today, is I want you to take something in your kitchen and just throw it away. I don't need this anymore. This is not going to be good for me. And if you're ready, let's clean it out. And over the next day, tonight maybe, or tomorrow, we're going to be back here tomorrow. Find some things at the store that are going to allow you to have better nutrition with simple complex carbohydrates, with good fat, low amounts of sugar, and fiber. That's what you need. So find those products. And then tomorrow, when we come in tomorrow, we're going to do some exercising, talk about exercising, talk about stretching. You're going to need a ball. If you got a big ball, you're going to need a couple of weights, not a lot of weights, maybe 5 pounds at the most, just because we're going to demonstrate some exercises and we're going to do some stretching. So if you have a mat, we can get on that floor and do some stretching together. Well, I hope this has been great for you. It's been great for me. This is our first day. I've got a lot more gems to share with you, and I pray that you have a great day